is just, I mean, I don't know how they did it. They did it with like as like a sort of like line of sight kind of perk or something. But it works. It's kind of scary how it works. It's kind of, there's times where it's like hit or miss, but for the most part, it's pretty fantastic.
That's cool. How does it? I mean, does it hold up to the legacy? I guess. I mean, 'cause
Well,
I know you had you took a lot of issue with reviewers kind of nitpicking this game.
I did. Well, I told you earlier about the main nitpick that just sent me. I flew off the handle when I found out about this being like a reason to disparage the game. A critic at a website that. Maybe should I call it the website or should I just?
Absolutely.
Okay, well,
Always.
fuck you, game trailers. Then Jesus Christ, and because like in the review they actually listed this, and you know it was amidst other criticisms they had of the game, but the fact that they even gave this any consideration in writing the review is absurd. And what they said was. What they took issue with was not having the same guns out during a cutscene that you did before entering the cutscene, and then it changing to what he had during the cutscene when you get out of the cutscene. That is not something to criticize a game on. That's a fucking joke if that affects a score.
I have never heard that criticism before in a review, and there are so many games that are guilty of this. It's ridiculous.
And it's not even. See, we say guilty, but I mean, is it really even a problem? I mean, not really.
I mean, I've noticed it before,
it's
but I
mildly
never
annoying.
thought enough about it to bring it up in a review.
Yeah,
or
it's
to deduct points because of it.
Well, what's funny is the critic was talking about it, and he claimed it wasn't nitpicking. He said it was a poor design choice, and I'm thinking that's not a poor design choice. It's not even. I don't even know if it was a choice. I feel like it just sort of happened. Well, obviously it had to have been a choice, but it's a silly thing to criticize a game for.
Don't like 98% of the games we've ever played do that?
Pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
like...
it's funny that this is actually game trailers, because we've had dealings with game trailers this week outside of your issues with Max Payne 3's review.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of points to how ethical they are as a company.
See, for the most part, I actually like game trailers. They're much better than the IGNs out there, I would say.
But I didn't have a problem with them till they started shilling out for fucking Facebook games for Battleship tie-in games.
Wait, seriously? Really? Well,
yeah, I told you that story, didn't I?
No, you never told me about that. That's a whole other thing. We might have to...
Oh, no, yeah, we got an interview request this week.
Oh, that. Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, that was from Game Trailers. That chick is from Game Trailers. And
well,
she's
yeah.
for Coke and Battleship.
Well, wait, why did they...
For terrible Facebook games.
But why did they want us to interview her anyway? I mean, she... Amanda McKay, that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, I guess she's the voice. She's the face.
Of game trailers? I was gonna say.
No, she's part of Game Trailers.
Well, yeah.
For that game.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it was based... Wow, that is kind of a weird conflict of interest. But I guess she doesn't really write the article. She's just a face. She's just a talking head for Game Trailers TV.
Well,
she doesn't really do anything else.
She was going to do an interview about how cool the fucking game was.
I guess. Well, whatever.
And it's like... Okay, great.
Yeah, I mean,
great. Aren't you supposed to be a little bit more objective about these things?
Well, and see, I don't think that game trailers really. I mean, I don't want to get too sidetracked on this. I don't think it was an issue of them, like, for example, like not getting their, advertising from Rockstar or anything like that ridiculous. I think that the reviewer was just being overly critical, and it's not just him. I mean, I was actually noticing that a lot of the criticisms coming towards the game were from European outlets, like Eurogamer gave it 7 out of 10. Some German site on Metacritic gave it. I don't think they even had a score, but it was a mixed review, quote unquote.
Oh, fuck those guys.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. Well, that's
right.
This game feels like. And the other two had, well, the other two must have had a European sensibility because they were made by Remedy, and I'm pretty sure it's like a Swedish company or something like that. So maybe there's some sort of European bias there. I have no idea, but
freaking Swedes.
I mean, I don't want to get it wrong. Remedy might be from a different country. I don't want to insult them because they are fucking brilliant. But that's the thing. I mean, like, they are brilliant. They created 2 brilliant games in the franchise that went dormant for a while. Rockstar Vancouver, or just Rockstar in general, picked up the slack, and not only picked up the slack, they did it justice. Remedy was even quoted as, I think it was the head of Remedy who who started the original Max Payne game. He was quoted as saying that Max Payne 3 is brilliant. I think you can't get a much better endorsement than that. I mean...
See, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching the videos of the bullet time.
Mm-hmm.
In the
beautiful.
trailers
it's
that we're
so
streaming,
beautiful.
it looks like a ton of fun. I mean, it's
so
always
fun.
been fun in that series, but it looks so good in this game.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I gotta tell you, I feel like an asshole saying this, but the exit wound animations are so gorgeous. It's so amazing to watch the blood fly. And, well, I mean, and I think that, to respond to some other criticisms, there's been some criticisms about the writing of the game. I think it was, Entertainment Weekly did a review where they referred to the writing as terrible, but they gave the writing of the first two a free pass, which I remember the writing of the first two games. It's not any worse here than it was then. In fact, there was somebody who, I think some other critic was saying that it wasn't ridiculous enough. I mean, I actually took a couple examples of some hilarious quotes in here. I mean, do you guys remember the narration in the first two games? Things like, the sun went down with practiced bravado. That kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, well, listen to some of these lines from Max Payne 3, and I've heard a couple of them. I mean, I remember a couple of them. One is, he was smoother than an oil slick on an iceberg and twice as toxic.
Nice.
What the?
Yeah, no, this writing is just... This writing's hysterical.
I'm in no position to judge anybody's writing. Have you read some of the shit I put up on the site? I can't criticize it.
Well, and that's the thing, is that you can criticize it. I guess I would just say that the game's score can suffer for a subjective thing like writing. I can totally accept that if you just don't like it. But you can't say something like it's not ridiculous enough, or it's more ridiculous, when that's just simply not true. I mean, it's the same level of ridiculous as the first two.
Well,
I mean,
Joe, was that you that was telling us that some reviewer called the game out because Max Payne shaved his head?
I certainly didn't say that to you guys, but that's odd.
I don't know where I heard that.
I think Scotty was talking about that, actually.
Yeah, it was Scotty.
Yeah. I think the Chewbacca roar is his way of saying "fuck you guys, that was me."
Yeah, exactly. That's him taking credit.
Yeah, well, and
on Mike.
Yeah, I remember he was saying, I forgot which review it was. I mean, I think actually the Game Trailers review brought it up too, saying that it was just a superficial choice and that it didn't really add anything. I mean, who cares? It doesn't. That's not the point. I mean,
he was Bruce Willising it up, man. You start losing that top piece.
Yeah,
and you got to take the razor out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and okay, I guess I should also, address, like, there's been some valid criticisms of the game. Like, some people have said you are watching it more than you're playing it, right?
Yeah.
And that's a valid criticism, I would say, actually, but it doesn't take away from the game's experience, or my experience with the game, I mean. Another criticism is that Rockstar is better at doing open world games and not straight up action games. And that also could be fair. I mean, it does kind of feel like if Red Dead Redemption had shoot dodging. It has that kind of heavy, realistic body feel to the game. But I honestly think it still works. I mean, it just adds yet another gameplay mechanic to something that's already fantastic. So, yeah.
I'm right there with you, man. I haven't played the game yet, but I'm looking forward to it. And I'm watching this player video, and it does. You mentioned Uncharted.
Mm-hmm.
When we were talking about it last time.
And in the review,
that's
I did too.
That's what I'm thinking about when I'm watching that multiplayer video. It feels like it's pulling a lot from Uncharted.
It is, and it
does. Outside of except for, like, obviously the bullet time.
Yeah, well, and just, it has its own feel. That's the thing. Like, I get the sense from it, like, from the amount I've played of it, that you really have to be more tactical about it, even than in Uncharted. Like, taking cover is essential in single and multiplayer, because it literally takes like 2 or 3 shots to get killed in this game, even on normal difficulty in single player. I mean, that's actually something that I really like. I'd mentioned in my review that it kind of irked me how far apart the checkpoints are. Like, that can be kind of annoying, especially if it's in front of a cutscene that you can't skip. But the fact that the game, like, is challenging it's kind of sad to say, but it's kind of refreshing. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like Dark Souls level of difficult, but it's more difficult than any shooter that you're going to play anytime soon. I can say that. And and also, Nate, I think that the fact that you're willing to try it out and you're going to be playing it on PC, I think you're going to be the one who gets the definitive version of the game. So I'll be kind of curious to see how they distribute the 35 gigs of assets that they have in there.
Right, once it installs 9 hours later, let me know how it works.
Yeah, well, I mean,
shit.
Before we were recording, Nate, we were talking about how it probably has something to do with the fact that there are no load times, really, besides, like, the initial menu. I mean, everything loads up.
And
then...
that sounds awesome to me. I will gladly install a 35 gig game for no fucking load times.
Like, during the game itself, there's no real load times. But yeah, it's pretty much fantastic. I feel like it was a bit scattershot here talking about it, but I mean, I think we got the point across. It's a good game. I've defended my score. Should we move on from this?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Diablo 3 and the fun time that's been since its release.
Yeah.
None of us actually bought the game. The
No.
only reason we're bringing it up now, and thank God, because I was on the review, and I completely forgot I was on the review. So I'm happy that this controversy has occurred, because now I have an excuse for why my review is not up. But, so Diablo 3 releases, come midnight, everybody's trying to log in at the same time. Nobody can get in. Servers are just jam-packed. The inner tubes are just packed full of fucking fanboys waiting to get into this goddamn game. And some people...
Love it.
So, they start getting the Error 37 message.
Infamous Error 37. One does not simply log into Diablo 3.
Yes, one does not simply log into Diablo 3. So... Blizzard takes down Battle.net, starts adding more servers in a big hurry, gets the game back up. Some more people are able to get back in, but I think it was the next afternoon, you said, Alex, before people were really able to access it.
Some people were able to get on only an hour later. I mean, Western Standard Time, Pacific.
Yeah,
I mean.
It was weird. A lot of it depended on where you were, your location, in relativity to where I guess the servers were based. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could have been a lot of things. It could have just been luck. You might have just found an open tube.
Yes.
Got in. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it brought up a lot of controversy with having to have an always-on internet.
As it should.
Alex and I were discussing this on the before the show, and I'm firmly against this kind of thing. I'm firmly against always-on DRM, always-on internet connections, having to connect to Battle.net or ArenaNet or what have you. Online passes. I hate it all. I think it's terrible.
It can fuck games up, clearly.
Yeah, it can fuck games up. It takes up resources. It's transmitting data to these companies that I don't trust them, having access to my computer. That who knows what they're transmitting. They might be, they might have a script in there that's looking through my email for keywords so they could send me advertisements or something. Or, just silly little shit like that. Who knows what they're doing? I mean, they've proved they're shady, and I'm fairly sure they don't have the best security. We've seen that too.
Sony.
And Alex, that article that you sent us about
the Forbes
Diablo
article.
3,
yeah,
the Forbes article about Era 37 and the botched launch and how Blizzard really wasn't prepared. It put it perfectly. It just hit it on the head for me and really kind of solidified my thoughts on this whole subject.
Yeah.
All these game companies that say we require an online DRM or we require an online pass, blah 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 blah, any of that bullshit.
Well, and
they're asking the customer to trust them 100%. Just 100%. Trust us. You're fine in our hands. Blah 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 blah. But we don't trust the customer at all. There's no back and forth. It's all one way.
That's such a difficult leap to make. I mean, because I barely trust my girlfriend with my laptop, so why am I going to trust fucking Diablo 3?
Shit.
Well, exactly. It's like, why would I trust Blizzard? And they obviously haven't earned that trust. Because we plunk down our money. As consumers, our only responsibility is to plunk down that $60, and we expect to take home a product that fucking works. Right then. That's not too much to ask.
Well, and Blizzard doesn't really have much of an excuse to not be able to pull this off. I mean, when we were talking about earlier, I brought up how when StarCraft 2 came out, they didn't have this bullshit where, like, you know, you had to wait till Pacific Standard Time at midnight to start up the game, because really, when you think about it, that probably was the reason why everything crashed, just because everybody tried to log in at the exact same time instead of spacing it out over the course of an evening. Yeah, there's gonna be people in fucking California and Oregon and Seattle fucking bitching and moaning that people in Minnesota or Iowa or Illinois are playing the game before them, but tough shit, they're gonna play the game anyways, so who gives a shit? I mean, it wouldn't hurt Blizzard to do that, and it would have helped them, obviously, at this point.
Does it surprise anyone else that one of the biggest PC game launches in the past 10 years, they're still not prepared for this kind of stuff?
Well, that was my point to Alex.
Yeah.
They have so much precedent. This is